Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Lead Well with Jackie, where I am joined by the remarkable Cassie Miller, founder of She Believe, to talk all things self-leadership, self-belief, and the power of leaning into courage. Welcome, Cass.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So a little bit about Cassie. Just over 18 months ago, Cassie's world was turned upside down when she was diagnosed with metastatic neuroendocrine cancer. As a young, healthy mum of 3 gorgeous humans, she was bulletproof, and then suddenly she wasn't. Being forced to walk hand in hand with fear and face her mortality has dramatically changed the lens through which Cassie lives her life. And while her healing journey and quest for courage has a long way to go, she's trusting her gut, following her heart, taking leaps of faith, and doing everything in her power to transform her story into one of enlightenment, pure love, and wholehearted hope. Even reading that feels really emotive for me, like it really draws on a lot of emotions. How does it feel when you hear people introduce you in that way?
Yeah, it still feels completely surreal. I'm kind of like, who is this person that you're talking about? Like, is this me? It's a little bit of an out of body moment just then, just going, wow. When you sum it all up like that and put it in a pretty little bow, the last 2 years has been so big, but just to sum it up in those sentences, it's brings me back to earth and grounds me.
Is it in a helpful way, do you think? Or is it like a reopening of a wound kind of feeling?
Both are beautiful. So the reopening of the wounds is what I feel like is catalyst for growth for me. And it brings up emotions like, fear and grief and sadness. It takes me back into those heavier moments. So you get kind of a bit of like a visceral reaction to that. But then it also brings out these like glimmers and the beauty and the joy and the love. And there's just 2 totally opposing like spectrums, and both serve such a beautiful purpose together. I don't think you can have one without the other.
That's such an amazing perspective. And actually, before we kind of dive in, because we have lots to discuss, I do want to really genuinely thank you and acknowledge you for even just agreeing to have this conversation with me and share your story. I just think the bravery and courage that it takes to share this journey that you've been on while you're still on it in particular is just remarkable. So thank you for just being so generous with your experience.
Thanks, Jackie. Yeah, it is a gift to be able to, I'm kind of, trying to reframe things now. I don't have to do anything, I get to. And that is, it's a privilege to get to have this space to share part of my story, and hope that whoever is listening will take away some glimmers or some aha moments, or just feel inspired or some kind of pull. I feel like there has to be a reason. I remember I saw a psychic at the very beginning of my journey, and they said, this happened for you, not to you. And that's what I'm just really hoping this call to courage and sharing my story is about. It's just about a way to help others, I guess. Life throws you lemons. You got to make lemonade.
Yeah. And you've got big lemons, so that's a lot of lemonade.
Yeah.
So we will get into, your diagnosis and the challenge of the last couple of years. I'd love to just start by casting you back, I guess, BC, but before the diagnosis.
Well, it's so funny because Aaron, my husband, always says, oh yeah, BC, which is before Cass. And now we call it BC before cancer. It is a totally different chapter.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So tell us about the BC, the Cass before your life was turned on its head, basically.
Wow. Gosh, I was just Cassie. And I still am just Cassie, but I was a youngish mum of 3. I had, gone to a beautiful school in Brisbane, had the most beautiful upbringing. I've got 3 siblings, beautiful parents. I kind of had lived this life of joy. And, we traveled a lot, and I went to university. I lived over in London for a few years. Um, I have beautiful friends. I live in Sunshine Beach. I'm so lucky to live near the ocean. I just feel like I was, my life is blessed. I've lived a blessed life. But in, reflection, I do look back a little bit and I'm like, I was busy being everything for everyone. And I think I was working, I was being mom, I was being partner, I was being a friend, I was having to show up in so many different spaces. But I almost wore like busyness as like a badge of honor. But I think that I have grown up in a space of love, and adventure, and having my 3 beautiful children, stepping into the chapter of being a mom has been the greatest privilege of my life. And I have had sadnesses in my life, but I think Cassie pre-diagnosis she had her blinkers on a little bit. I'm not going to lie. She was living on autopilot a little bit. She was, there was a bit of a status thing around doing everything and being everything, and always got to be better. What am I next looking for? But I was happy. I think I look back, I thought I was healthy. I look back now and my view of health is completely on its head. It's totally different. But I was blessed.
And I think that actually that idea of, busyness as a badge of honor, and always what am I doing for everyone else, and how am I giving, and, all of those things, and striving. I think a lot of us feel that. And we kind of, they always say that all of the days are long, but the years are short. And at the end of every year, everyone's always saying, I can't believe it's 2025 already. And, we smash through our lives. We rush through our lives. I feel like that's really resonant for a lot of people, of that level of busyness. And I'm interested to understand for you now, knowing what you know now, if you could talk to that pre-diagnosis Cassie, what would you tell her?
Gosh, I think if I could really sum it up, there's a beautiful story that I have, which has been part of my healing journey, and we can go into it a bit later, I'm sure. But one of the things is let it be. It's like that Beatles song, let it be. I'm a terrible singer, but I think I wish I could tell Cassie pre-diagnosis to let it be, and to really focus on trusting herself fully and fiercely, and to not miss the magic that is around her and in her. I think pre-Cassie, pre-BC, before cancer, so busy, it was more of a human doing. And I know people say this often, but it's true. Like, I was a human doing, I wasn't a human being. I feel like my life right now is so much more pixelated than what it was before. Like you say, we get caught up, the days, they're quick, they move, and I feel like I wasn't present. And so I would just say to Cassie, like, let it be. We can't fight fate, but you can choose how you are in this moment. We have choice at every point and moment in our day, how we spend our days, how we show up as a parent, how we show up as a partner. We have choice. We have choice whether we choose courage or comfort. There are all these moments every day that we have choice. And I would say to her to trust herself and to not miss the magic, because she was missing the magic big time.
Feel like we have so much to talk about, but if that is the only thing people hear from our conversation, it's really impactful, because we do take so much for granted, and it's so easy to get lost in the macro view of our lives that we just miss out on. I like the way that you say, it's like we miss out on the pixels, right? Like we miss out on all of the micro elements and moments and things that add up to create this beautiful, blessed life that most of us have. Or we sort of focus on the stuff that we want to fix or change or shift or move away from, and it distorts our view of actually what we're living in.
100%. Totally. It's really interesting because I feel like we always go, oh, I'll do this when, or I'll, and I think we always, before I was diagnosed, I just don't think dying ever came into my realm of consideration. It was never part of my conscious realm. I didn't make decisions, big ones or little ones, how I show up with my kids, that was never part of my decision-making process. And so I think, we get stuck into this vortex, like you say, where it's just like you're doing, and we're just not being, and we miss out on all the magic that's around it. But, we've got tomorrow, but I've come to realize that we're not actually guaranteed tomorrow. No one is. We have absolutely no assurance that either us, our life will be the same as it is now. I always think of that saying, it's like, I think it was on Kung Fu Panda, but yeah, but it's like the duck or something. He said, like, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is the present. That's why it's a gift. And it's so true. I feel like you can still do all the things and still feel grounded and peaceful in your heart. But I think that there's just a yearning for more. And really it's like we just need to slow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I heard this saying when I was doing a positive intelligence course, and I can't remember the guy's name. I'll have to put him somewhere. He said, every year millions of people die waiting to be happy.
Yeah.
Because we make joy and happiness, and to an extent presence, we make it a future state, which is just, obviously doesn't make any sense. But we go, yeah, but when I've bought a house, then I will be really present in that home. Or when I have kids, then I'm going to be really present. Or and we constantly, it's easier to project it forward, isn't it? And go, well, one day I'll do that.
When I finished this big project that I've got at work, then I'll have time for the kids. But like, what if when never happens? Yeah. And I think that's the big shift.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes up a little bit, we won't go down this path, but it comes up a little bit when I work with people who are retiring as well, because there's a lot of people put this, well, when I retire, I'll travel. And when I retire, I'll spend time with my grandkids. And when I retire, and then when they get to retirement age, they're like, but wait, what am I without my work? Because this has always been a future state. I don't know how to embody it now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it is. It's so interesting. And it's really like, it's this concept of feeling alive. And it's like, what does alive feel like to us? And work is important, parenting is important, carving out time for ourselves is important. All these things are important, but what really makes our mind, body, spirit feel alive? And are we actually tending to those things? And not when I get to a different point or when this happens. It's like, no, it's now.
Yeah, the time is now.
And be and have it all. Yeah.
So, first of all, I love that. Let it be. I'd love to now move into, about 2 years ago when you received your diagnosis. Please share whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah. Gosh.
This is another huge question.
Crazy. Yeah, no, but it's a pivotal moment. It's when my world changed forever. So it was on the 11th of April, 2023. And I had this like massive pain event. And I can't really describe it. It was like started at like 2:00 in the morning. It's almost like labor pains, almost getting worse and worse. And the only thing that helped me was like lying in the shower under hot water. And at about 6 a.m., I just called my mom and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to do something. So Aaron had the kids, he took them, and mum came, picked me up, and we sped down to Sunshine Coast Emergency Hospital, which was one of the worst drives in my life. We thought it was like a cyst bursting or something like that. And we got to the SCU emergency. They raced me straight through, got my pain under control, and did a bunch of scans. And they found a large mass on the outside of my bowel. I'll never forget, I was sitting in the in the room with like the curtain, and this lady came in, a nurse, and mum's there with me on her laptop, and I'm kind of on my phone thinking like, oh, this is such an inconvenience. And she closed the curtain. She goes, okay, ladies, we're going to have to address the pink elephant in the room. And I'm like, pink elephant, okay. She's like, look, you're in the right place, but it's looking like you've got ovarian cancer. We found a large tumor on the outside. It looks like it's in your pelvis, but we need to do further investigations. You're in the right place at the right time. And that was the first wave of just like knock me off my feet. I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? And we do have a history of ovarian cancer in our family. And my mum, my beautiful mum, who you know, is this just angel, earth angel.
She actually is.
And in that moment, it was like out of body. I didn't really comprehend. She said to us, it's a lot to take in. I'll give you 5 minutes and then I'll come back. And she closed the curtains. And I looked at mum and I didn't even react to begin. It was crazy. I was like in shock. It was like my body was like processing. And then I just like started crying. It was like everything was just coming out. And mum, bless her, just held a safe space for me. She was just as shocked. She didn't know what to do or say and just held a safe space for me. And immediately it was just this like moment where I don't know, she's, as you know, trained by Brene Brown, courage, and she just needs to do something. So she hugged me and at the same time took out her phone and called our family friend who is an oncologist. And she goes, this is what we've just been told. We don't know what's going on. We're panicking. He quickly went on back of the scenes and checked up the scans. Within 5 minutes, called us back. And he's like, okay, I can say with 95% assurance this is not ovarian cancer, but there is something large there and we do need to check it out. So he said, let me talk to the doctors. We got the doctors involved. And then it was this like tug of war. They were like, okay, is she going to go with the gynecology team or is she going to go with the surge? I got put in then, I'll never forget. It was like moth to a flame. My sister left her work, kind of rushed to the hospital. So she drove from Brisbane. My sister went and got my kids and my husband came to hospital. My dad came to hospital and I got taken through to the short stay. I had to stay there for a few days. And I'll never forget this beautiful lady. I don't even know who she was. She was a nurse and I was crying and she says, I don't know what's going on, but we are here for you. We will hold you in this space. Like it makes you kind of just go, oh, it was so kind. But I got taken through the hospital and I had to stay there for a few days and we had to kind of figure out what's going on. And then the crazy thing is it then took 2 months so to get the diagnosis. It was 6 weeks and I had 3 surgical procedures. I was in hospital for a week on IV antibiotics under thinking that maybe it was a infection. I had a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of scans, a lot of blood tests, all led by this beautiful general surgeon who's now become a massive part of my healing and support team, John Hansen. He led the exploration. And it was a really weird time in that 6 weeks because I was still holding on to the fact that I'd had this rattling, like I'd been thrown into this medical world. I'd been kind of told it was ovarian cancer, but it wasn't. We knew at this point it wasn't that. And so I was holding on to this hope. It was like this it was so uncertain and scary. And I was in this medical world that I didn't understand. But at the same time, I was like, no, this kind of stuff doesn't happen to me. Like bad things don't happen to me. I'm Cassie, like it just doesn't. You hear about this happening to other people, but it wouldn't happen to me. And so it was this like tug of war between like this like optimism, like I'm going to be okay. This is just going to end up being an infection or something. We just need to figure out what it is. But then also this uncertainty. And then the day of the actual diagnosis is one that will be with me forever. Like thinking about it, I start to get sweaty hands and my stomach starts to flip a bit. But John, we had formed a beautiful relationship at this point, and Aaron and I walked into his office and we had done a rather cowboy kind of biopsy a week before and a PET scan to check things and just get a full check. And we sat down, and usually when I'd visit him quite a lot, John would have a lot of niceties and we would have some nice rapport. But he was agitated, and he just said to me, he goes, Cass, I haven't been able to sleep last night, and I have not been able to get this off my mind. I don't know how to deliver this to you. And I was like, oh God. And he's like, look, it's grade 2 neuroendocrine cancer, and it has spread everywhere. He's like, you've got 15 deposits. It's in your lungs, your liver, it's in your hip. You've obviously got the one on your bowel. It's in your spine. And he said, this is right now the end of the road for us. You'll be moving we'll transfer you over to an oncologist, and your journey will begin there. And I literally feel like in that moment, like the ground could have swallowed me up. Like everything froze. It was like I just had a body. Like he continued talking and I just couldn't hear him. I was just watching him. It was kind of like that first time. It was like this shock. I was just paralyzed. And I remember looking over at Aaron, who's like my calm, safe space. And he started crying. He stood up and he was crying. And I was like, oh God, this is really bad. This is really, really bad. You just, like you said at the beginning, like you just think you're bulletproof, and in an instant you're not. And it's like everything you know to be true about the world, everything you believe, everything is just like shattered, and you just want the world to like swallow you up and take it away. And the first thing you think is like I've got 3 young kids. This can't happen. It's a lot. It's like your world just changes. And it's a moment that I hope people don't, I know many people will have to experience, but I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy.
I just can only, you should say I can imagine what that's like, but I don't think I can imagine. I think that I could try and think about what that would be like, but unless you're in it, and like you said, we identify as certain people, don't we? And you said the words, this doesn't happen to me. Like this happens to people, and it's very sad, but it doesn't happen to me. But everyone who it happens to must think that.
Yeah, you see sometimes, on 9 News or the Daily Mail, young mum or something happens, and you just think that that's over there. It is very separate to me. I have only lived a blessed life up until now. Like luck or fortune, good fortune has always been in my favor. And things have always worked out. Life is hard, of course, but they have tended to work out. And it's just not something that I had ever considered to be in my realm. And certainly not at 36 years old with 3 young children. At that point, Harry was 5, Indy was 3, and Charlie was 1.5. And I'm just like, no. But it's my reality. It's one of those like earth-shattering realities. Like you cannot run from this.
Yeah.
This is you. And there's a whole lot of stuff around that. Like to identify with having cancer, like I say, I am a Cancerian. Like the irony is not lost on me. Like my star sign is Cancer. And that is the extent to which cancer had infiltrated my life. I have had aunties who have experienced it. They have come through and moved through. But cancer as like my reality was just not, it wasn't part of my story. I never, until like in an instant it was.
And was that acceptance process pretty instantaneous, or was there a bit of a time after that where there must be a mistake, or like what was that period like, or the journey of acceptance?
Yeah, look, I think that the journey of acceptance, I don't know that it's ever reached. I have come such a far, long way in 2 years, and acceptance is something that I'm continually striving towards, because I feel like only once I have that acceptance will I truly have peace in my heart. In the moment, though, there is definitely like it's more of like, I don't believe it. Like, is this do I believe it? Like, I think it's more of like, yeah, I don't believe it. And certainly zero level of acceptance at the beginning. I mean, I think you have to be like, this is your reality, but I think it took me weeks of actually having to sit in that. I avoided my like beautiful friends. I couldn't speak to people about it because even saying it meant that it was my reality, and I was living in this world, like trying to not make it my reality, if you get what I mean. Like, I needed a couple of days to just like, I needed to sink into it. And it was, I think that in there in itself is a tiny bit of acceptance and understanding or something around that. But, you know, my beautiful friends, the only people I could let into my world in that moment was my family. But I had, you know, three of my beautiful friends just rocked up on my front door and didn't say no for an answer. And I nearly had a panic attack facing them. To talk about it made it real, even more real, I think. The processing of that emotion, I think, will take that fear and that hijacking in that moment. I think it takes years to make peace with that and to process it and to move it through properly. Be mind, body, and spirit. It's something that, you know, I don't get as triggered when I talk about. But the moment of the diagnosis, I still cry. And then when I think about it, I still, you know, I'm a bit shaky at the moment and I'll come back down into my body. But I still have this like visceral reaction to it. And I've done so much heart work, inner work to learn how to reframe that moment. And I've had to do so much. And it has gotten me to a place of being able to reframe where I can think about that diagnosis moment and the weeks to follow that were just dark and really scary and numb and all the things. It's done a lot to have to be able to have peace with that time of my life. But I think also at the same time, that level of fear was sending me a message that something that I really care about is at risk. And that's where like the mama mode comes in.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine that it is a really natural trauma response of the brain to go, actually, nah.
I'm just going to freeze it right here. I'm just going to fly. I'm going to run away from that. Like, let's just not make that real. Let's just freeze and run away.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's too big to take on at once. And I totally can see how information like that will take the brain, like even just at a physiological level, time for those neurons to come together and go, oh yeah, nope, that is actually happening, and to sort of validate that it is a real thing. Because I think, you know, at much, much smaller levels, every single day, every one of us choose to not believe things that are true or real to protect ourselves. And this is sort of, you know, one of, if not the biggest iterations of that.
Yeah, and you're so absolutely right there. You know, you've got, I think in that moment of time, you're all limbic. You are all emotion. It is all that there is no capacity for your brain to step into that. Like the prefrontal cortex is not working. Like you are not thinking logically. You are not thinking like, okay, rationally, I need to do X, Y, Z. There is no like action mode. It is like a chaotic storm of just like what is like just wild, intense, not big emotion that you just can't, it's hard to wrap your head around.
And how did you? Like, how have you started to even?
You know, again, it comes down to my beautiful mum, because I was just so lost. And I think when you enter the oncology world, I am so blessed to have been guided with doctors and been put into the hands of people who genuinely care. But at the beginning, when you were diagnosed with something like cancer, you feel really alone. It's like, you know, no one else is coming. So I always tell this story. And it's right after the diagnosis, it was like moth to a flame again. All my family came, we were sitting on the couch, and we just left John's room, and I was just crying. I was sitting on the couch, just like letting it all out, like my fears and my anxieties and everything. And no one really knew what to say. It was just like this sitting around, just like everyone's in shock and numb and trying to deal with this chaos in our mind as well, and trying to find some sort of reason why this is going on, what is happening here. And my beautiful dad, bless him, I'll never forget, he like leant over and he just put his hand on my leg and he just said, Cass, if I could take this for you in this moment, like if I could take this, I would. And I was like, oh God. Like it was like the most rawest, realest love. Like, you know, that just like the purest. I knew in that moment that he would have like fallen on the sword for me so that I didn't have to walk this path that I've had to. And like I said there, in that same moment though, I realized like no one else is coming. I am the only one who is going to be able to walk this journey. Like I'm going to have friends and family, and I'm going to have doctors and nurses and healers supporting me and circling me all the time. But when it comes to the really hard moments, like I'm the only one who has to show up. Like and when you get thrown into this oncology world, you realize that really quickly, and it's scary and it's frustrating and it's daunting. It's like, you're not given a project manager who's like, okay, I'm going to take over your case and you've got to do X, Y, and Z. What kind of path do you want to take? Like, what are your values? Like, what kind of, where do we want to go with this? So there was nothing. And I was just like, what do I do? Help me. And there's this like desperation as well. Like my life is literally, I have things growing inside of me that are going to take my life. I need somebody to help me. I'm speaking to an oncologist, you've got to wait weeks to see, and then you get a treatment plan, but there's got to be more. What else can I do? What should I be eating? What should I be like? What do I do? And so I think that like chaos, my beautiful mum stepped in at that day after, because I was frozen. I was numb. What do I do? Somebody just take me and fix me. Like, how do I do this? And it's such a scary world. They talk words that you don't know, and there's wait times, and there's so many long periods of unknown, which is just so anxiety filled. But my mum just said, we need to take power back, and all we can do is, let me just book you an acupuncture appointment. Let's do something that is going to do something. I don't know what it is, but we know that it's not going, let's just get you an acupuncture appointment. And she did. She booked me and I went, and it was a moment where I just felt like, okay, I'm doing something. I don't know what my place is in this story right now, but I just need to do one little thing. And I think that is how I have slowly unscrambled myself, by literally, and I say it as getting out of my head into my heart and just doing the damn thing. I have to have learned how to, one of my energy healers says to me, energy can't be lost or created. It can only be transferred or transformed. And so I have done that. That's what I'm learning to do here. I am taking the energy of fear in my head and I'm transferring it down to my heart, and I'm transforming it into courage, which for me looks like a bright shining light, golden light kind of coming out. And I just do one little thing. Go do that acupuncture appointment. At the beginning, it was just go do that acupuncture appointment, go down to the ocean and have a swim. It was just anything to just break the circuit of my spiral.
And I imagine take some semblance of control, autonomy, putting yourself back in the driver's seat. And it's interesting when I hear you share that turning point, and then I think of, the message that you would tell the pre-cancer version of yourself, which is that you have choices and that you always have a choice. And this is sort of maybe one of the most challenging ways of living through and manifesting that is what I'm picking up. It's like, in this huge world of unknown where I am not in control, where is that one little glint of light where I do get to make a choice?
And I'm learning that we have every day, all of us have calls to courage. And some are really big, some are really small. Every day in different ways, shapes, or forms. Like they're different for everyone. It could be like speaking up in a meeting, or like letting go of your child's hand and like letting them find their way in their new school playground and their dynamics there. Or it's, speaking up to your partner and saying that you're not happy with something, leaving an unfulfilling relationship, or, starting a new business. There's so many different ways and variants of call to courages. But at every moment we have a choice. We can either choose courage and like expand ourselves in even the smallest way, or we can choose comfort and contract ourselves. And this is like the really interesting thing, that fear, I bet you like 9 times out of 10, fear is the one thing that holds us back from choosing courage. It's fear wants us to play it safe and stay small and protect ourselves. And we have these tiny, that's what I'm learning to do here. It's like, I am not making these big life choices, and I've had some big calls to courage, and I've had to learn it in reverse. And what I'm trying to share is like, if we can find the courage in the small little moments of our day, which is what I'm doing now, to get out of our own way, to like get out of our head and into our heart, and to choose courage, even if it's just going and making yourself a cup of tea and doing the next little thing, or to break that cycle, or just sending that email that's trying to go for a job application, just one little thing, then that's how we train our muscle, our like courage muscle, so that when our really big call to courage comes, we trust ourselves. And that's what I said at the beginning. Like, if I could tell Cassie BC, trust yourself fully and fiercely. And that is learned. It's not something you can just read a book and you can just do. It's something that I've had to learn over experience. Like, it's something that we have to commit to cultivating, but these little moments, if we trust and we choose courage, even if it's tiny, we get out of our head into our heart, like that's where we can start to like step into our power. And that's how I've started to make peace and fight acceptance and expand, use fear and stuff as a catalyst for growth.
And I think also, and I like how how you said that huge overwhelming feeling of fear was a message that, something that you truly value is at risk. And I was thinking about this a lot recently, and I think that do the thing or don't, like saying no also takes courage. Doing less, we talked about the busyness before, doing less also takes courage. Quitting the job and spending more time with your kids, like, it doesn't always have to be, like you said, this huge, expansive, more, I'm going to build an empire, I've got a limited amount of time, I'm going to do all of the things in one day. Like, sometimes it can be slow down, build in rest into your day, go for a walk instead of fitting in another meeting or another client, or, like, I think for yourself, for the BC Cass and for probably the today me, that's a really important reminder that courage comes in all forms, And
it's really interesting because the whole kind of anchor for me in She Believe, which is a whole story in itself that I won't go into now, but how I came up with my why and why I even do She Believe was because I realized, like, I did this course basically, and it's like I was trying to find my why, and this lady had a really beautiful way of doing it. She gives you some content, then you drop into a meditation for 45 minutes to discover your why. So I'm in there, and I came through to me, and I was sitting on my laptop at night, and I just wrote, I'm trying to think, is it because I want to help people work through fear, or what is this? Like, and I'm like, no, we need to go deeper here. And it was like, the reason that I want to do this is because when people take their last breath, when I take my last breath, I want nothing but peace to fill my heart. We don't know when that next last breath is going to come. It could be tomorrow. And so I want, for me and for others, for peace to fill our heart, knowing that we lived a life where we felt like aligned and fulfilled, like we left nothing on the table. And like you say, that doesn't mean doing more, being more, becoming more. It just means like you have to be in order to become. Do you know what I mean? Like we have to, it means making those choices that, no, this is how I want to parent. This is what is aligned to me. This is what makes me feel my mind, body, and spirit feel alive. It's not always about, it might be like saying, it's definitely saying no. It's like a wholehearted no and an absolute yes, like a fuck yes and a wholehearted no. It's like knowing when that is, and that takes courage to go both ways. But we don't know when our last breath is going to be. And so when we say, you know, we go back to that, like when I do this later or next time when the time comes, it's like, well, if we take our final breath tomorrow, do we genuinely feel like we've lived a life today when we've left nothing on the table, where we have made decisions that make us feel like we're living our soul's purpose? And that might be putting the phone away and spending half an hour with your children, even though you have this massive timeline, because that makes you, if that was tomorrow was your last day, like that's what you'd want to do.
Yeah, I hear that. I often say, because, you know, in the world that we're in, we talk a lot about purpose. And I often say, for me, I want my last day to be my best. I want every day to move closer into alignment of who I should be, who I want to be, and who I truly am. And I want that to be an iterative process over the course of my life. You know what I mean? I think that it's, but you don't know where the end is, I guess. So,
and that's the beautiful part of it. You know, this is, I think that it's, I have a thing about, you know, people say live each day like it's your last. And that to me is like, well, if it was my last day, I knew that, I would be like, you know, that's not reality. We have stuff to do. We have obligations. But what I'm learning is that, you know, life is so precious and it is so beautiful and it is so fragile. And there is so much magic within us and around us. And we can do and be and have it all. But that is what is within us. Like we are living our purpose, you know, like you live it.
Yeah.
You live in the moments where you choose courage over comfort, where you choose love and gratitude, where you choose these beautiful glimmers. You choose to see the glimmers that are around you. You're not on autopilot. You're present, and you make choices that you feel are truly aligned with what makes you feel alive.
And you choose what all means, right?
Yeah.
Like you can have it all, but that doesn't mean having what that person has.
No.
Or that doesn't mean replicating that other person's life. And it certainly doesn't mean living based on external expectations of what you should do. And I think that's such an important layer. Figure out what all is, right? And then take those iterative, small decisions so that they ladder up to your all, whatever that may be. But make sure that you're heading in that direction, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
I couldn't agree more.
Do you mind if we talk a little bit more about your current state? And then I really want to dive into She Believe and learn all about it, because it just gives me goosebumps to think about. What is your current state in terms of your journey?
So I guess one of the things that is really interesting is that neuroendocrine cancer is said to be incurable. So my oncologists tell me that I am in palliative care, and that the goal of my treatment is to manage my symptoms and to make decisions that kind of get me as long of a life as possible. My current state is that it has been a hell of a couple of years. The last 2 years have been very intense. I have had, you know, more scans than I can count. I get blood tests every couple of weeks. I get a monthly injection. I've had 25 rounds of targeted radiation on my bowel. That's put me into surgical menopause that I'm now on hormone replacement therapy for. Last year, I was accepted to be part of a really progressive treatment at the Royal Brisbane Women's Hospital, where I had 4 rounds of, they inject you with this like very radioactive concoction called luteate. And that was 4 times. So every 2 months, I couldn't see my children for a week, and I was pretty unwell in the week after. And I am now also facing a pretty massive surgery to remove part of my bowel. So we're in mixes of that, and I'm getting PET scans every 3 months at the moment to monitor my progress. So the good news is that my oncologist gave me like an A+ for my last PET scan, which is not ever a grade I had hoped to get for this, but I'll take it. But it looks like I am responding very well to treatment, and everything else that I've been doing, I think is very much this, and that I have taken a very much Eastern, Western, I've taken holistic. I mean, I do a lot of other things. But the tumors look like they are shrinking in either size or activity, and in some cases both. And people like don't believe me when they see me. They're like, you can't be sick. It's like,
yeah, you look
chronic.
You look well.
I look well, and I feel the wellest that I have felt in forever, because I think I now am truly honoring and nurturing my mind and my body and my spirit. And it's, I've realized that I am human beings and not one-dimensional. We are multi-dimensional, and the healing journey I have taken has been far more expansive than just the traditional treatment. I am so grateful for all the doctors and all my healers and all the hard work and my curiosity and everything that I've been doing to get me to the place where I'm at. But where I'm at right now is the odds are stacked against me. I always say now that I'm on a mission to prove that I'm curable. And I say to my oncologist, like, I wasn't born with this. I don't understand why it's something that I can't get rid of. I mean, people have to do things for the first time all the time. Like, someone has to do it. Like, why can't it be me? And they're like, you know what? You're right. Like, why can't it be you? And I'm like, I'm going to prove that I can do this. And it has taken me on this trajectory and this journey that has been so beautiful. Mum, she asked me a question a while ago. She said to me, Cass, if you could go back to that moment in the room with John Hanson and he said to you, it's just an infection, a round of antibiotics, and Bob's your uncle, you can go back to Cassie, BC, would you do it? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, yeah, wholeheartedly. I would not change my journey. And I've said this, like, I know that, like, there have been moments that I wouldn't wish upon my, like, worst enemy. And yes, like, being faced with my mortality at my age, like, it hasn't been easy, but there have been so many gifts and glimmers and gifts to come out of this, and blessings, and more than I can ever imagine. And I've said this before, like, I often think the best blessing of that is that I get to raise my children through this new lens that I now live my life through. That's such a gift. I often think, like, if I was 80 and I had this, like, awakening, I would have missed my whole life. Like, I would have missed it.
Oh, that's really profound. Sorry.
Missed it all. It's true. And now I get to, like, because of cancer, it's crazy, but because of cancer, like, I am now dreaming bigger. I'm loving harder, and I'm living braver. Like, I'm choosing courage over comfort in the smallest moments. And it has been so expansive. I feel like in the short time that I've been living through this lens, like, I've experienced more love and joy and magic and awe and wonder than I know some people would experience in their lifetime. So where I'm at now is this place where my body is like, I'm responding. I'm, like, on this mission to prove that I'm curable. And to do that, it has meant that I've had to widen my lens so far. And I am now a yes girl. I am saying yes to everything. I am trying everything. My girlfriend sent me a message the other day saying, I've got this, like, girl, I don't know her. I don't know what she actually does. She doesn't have a website. I've got her name and number. My cousin told me that apparently she's really good, but she didn't know exactly what she does. But I'll just give you her number, and, like, reached out to her. And I did. And I've booked it. And, like, I'm just like,
amazing.
At me. I am open here. But I have the odds stacked against me. And it's a really big mission. And I am determined. I'm nervous, but I think I've also come to this point where I have had to struggle with like, why me? I'm different to everyone else. Why does everyone else get to live their life cancer free? And I, why me? And I've realized actually, like I said it before, none of us have assurance. Like that's what the one thing I'm desperately searching for is assurance. Someone to tell me, Cass, you're going to be okay. You're going to live till you're 80, 90, 100. You're going to see your kids grow old. And I cannot get that. That's why I've had to kind of go to these other realms, like tap into different levels of consciousness and go to the cosmic realm to try find, angel numbers and these things that are giving me the assurance that I can't get. But the thing that's interesting is that I've realized that I am no different to you. I am no different to anyone else. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so, now, like I said, dying was never a part of my conscious realm. It was never part of my consideration. And now it's front and center. I think like about the life I want to be, the person I want to be. And it's gifting me the peace and acceptance that I'm trying to find as I try to prove that I'm curable.
It's such an interesting, like, two-speed journey, isn't it? Like, I imagine that concurrently, really, you're looking for acceptance and thinking about death as a real thing, and also not. Does it? I can't even articulate it, but it feels like two sides of the same coin.
It's like my reality of what I've got, but also like trying to form a belief system around what I want my reality to be.
Yeah.
And it's a dance. It's a beautiful dance. It's like yin and yang. It's like both can be true.
Yeah.
And right now, I think, I always, there was this beautiful moment in my journey where, and it was a big part of how I work through fear and stuff at the moment. But I had this one night where I was on the verge of a panic attack and I was literally like losing, like, and I called my mum, as I always do. I always come back to mum. She's like my angel. And I called her and she just said to me, Cass, in this moment, you're safe. And that's all that really matters. And it's true, in this moment, we are safe. The reality is scary, but we can't fight fate. But we can choose how we write this story right now. We can choose how we react or respond in this moment. And so I think that duality exists in both. They are both real. Like my reality is really scary and daunting. And at the same time, I can choose to be peaceful in this moment.
Yeah. I find that something that just keeps coming up for me is how it seems that you're working with your body. I find that when people have difficult diagnoses or, chronic illness, there's a distance that occurs between a person and their body, or a resistance as such. And, I've got stuff and I sometimes think the same thing, like, why is my body working against me? And it's like, we're actually, foes. And I when you share your journey and the choices that you're making, I get a real sense, and I think there's like a physicality in it that when I look at you, I see, I guess it's a grounded confidence, but it's almost like this inhabiting your body, but really fully. I don't know if that lands for you, but it feels like it would be so reasonable to go, fuck this stupid body. It's not doing what it should be doing, but I just don't get that sense from you. I get a sense of the opposite.
Can I tell you, and I'm so like, I got goosebumps when you said that, because just like goosebump confirmation, because my beautiful brother, that is actually all on him. At the very beginning when I was diagnosed, I was like, I'm going to fight these things. I'll never forget, we were sitting having coffee and I was like, Dave, I'm going to fight these things. I'm going to, rally and I want to kill and I just want to like, go for it, like power, I'm going to fight. And he was like, Cass, he's like, you know, Dave, he's 10 years younger than me and he is like so sage and like charm energy and just he's profoundly powerful and incredible. I'm so grateful to have him on my journey. A lot of my most profound healing moments have been with him. But he said to me, Cass, can I challenge you on something? And I was like, yeah, okay, go for it. He's like, what if you thought about your body as like a community, an ecosystem, and you have these people in your community, the tumors, that are not playing ball. They're disruptive. They're acting against the rule. They're not listening to the rules. They're destroying things. They're aggressive. They're nasty. Do you want to just go and kill them? Or do you want to show them what it means to be a part of your body? Do you want to like love with love, which is the highest vibration? Do you want to emulate and show them, okay, this is my body and this is how, if you want to play and be a part of this body, this is what you're going to need to do. And I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to lead with love on that. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to kill and fight. I want to love and and inspire. And so I think that really shifted my perception on how I want to be in this journey. It's like, I'm going to that inspired me to go, okay, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be determined. I'm going to be like, set boundaries. I've emulated that in my mind, body, and spirit. I have made decisions that align with my body. I think what I've realized now is that trusting yourself and your intuition, especially, I've learned this through navigating the oncology world, like self-trust is your greatest ally.
Mm-hmm.
And that extends out into the world. You know, trust is like, it's the foundation of hope and optimism. And it's like our anchor in stormy waters. And I'm just like, if I can trust myself and remove the noise that is around me and declutter and get to know my body truly and to emulate and embody what I want to happen in my body, like, then that might show these tumors a different way of being and transform them. I mean, like you say, you know, we said before, energy can't be created or lost. It can only be transferred or transformed. Like, what I want to inspire those things to transform back to healthy cells. I'm grateful for the gifts and the glimmers that they've given me, but like, I need to remove the clutter. I've had to, you know, with my body, it has been mind, body, and spirit. I have had to do a lot of mind work. This is ongoing. I will never reach a full level. This is like an evolving thing. I don't think anyone can ever reach like the thing. But I will, you know, from psychologists through to, you know, doing different breath works and meditations, through to visualizations, through to gratitude journaling, through to reading all these books, mind over medicine, like trying to learn my power in my to release the stronghold that fear has on me, to like try to use fear as like understand how fear is for me and how I let go of that and use it as a catalyst for growth. Then in my body, I've had, you know, stopped alcohol, coffee, processed sugar. I've changed what I eat. I have like totally, I earth more. I do hyperbaric chambers. I'm doing all these things that are giving my cells to become one and truly understand my body. I now know, like, I was eating food that inflamed me, that didn't sit with me. Coffee made me jittery and anxious, and I don't feel that. Like, just all the things, I'm like becoming really in tune with my body. And then from the spiritual side of things, that has by far been the greatest awakening of my journey, and something that has become, you know, this universal intelligence that has become, I'm deeply attuned to and connected with. But that in itself has allowed me to get the assurance that I can't get. And in the real, I'm getting these subtle signs and messages and serendipitous moments that I'm now open to, and they're flooding in all the time. And those three combined, I really feel like, is such a long answer to your beautiful observation, but it means so much to me because I feel like I am aligning my mind, body, and spirit. And it is taken, I'm learning to trust myself fully and fiercely. I am listening to my intuition, and that is allowing me to step up when the call to courage has come. It doesn't feel so scary because I'm not letting fear dictate my choices. And I am choosing what truly makes me feel alive.
It's amazing. And what it really feels like to me is that you are being your best advocate. You're advocating for yourself, but you're advocating for every single cell in your body. And you're making those choices based on almost like those three kind of realms of being, right? Like the body, mind, spirit. And when you're combining those three realms with this really fierce warrior-like advocacy, it's a remarkable thing that actually everyone could be doing I'm just kind of interrupting myself now, but I always think of so many of us are walking around in this 3D movie without glasses on. And so we're just not quite aligned. You know, when you see like the blue and red lines, and what it feels like to me when you share that is that your lines are
Together.
synchronous,
Yeah.
and they're in harmony, and they're working together as one entity rather than being pushed and pulled in all of these different directions.
Yeah. And I think with that comes peace, because I feel like I am making decisions on a day-to-day basis, small ones, big ones, that are aligned. And I know now my body, I have like this like visceral reaction because I feel like I've removed the noise, the toxins, all the things, the itty bitty shitty committee that always comes back, but I'm not getting as rattled. I was. I'm kind of like, even before I would feel like I didn't know my purpose. I still don't know exactly my purpose, but I'm living into like that alignment that feels like I'm like, I trust myself. This is the right thing for me. This is how I want to show my body how to live, my children how to live. Like this feels good for me. And you're right. It's like, it's this grounded confidence, but it's also knowing that there is a gratitude for my days. I don't know how many of them I have left, and none of us do. So that is a lens that all of us should be living through. But it's like that does play into the part of, okay, well, like, how do I want to be and show up? Because I don't know how long I've got. And so I'm so grateful to be on this conversation with you. But I had to say yes to this. It was a call to courage. And the glimmers that you've given me in this conversation imprint my soul. And just even saying yes in that little moment to come on and speak to you today and to be brave and share has gifted me more in this hour and a half than, it's just these little moments. And I think it can feel overwhelming. It's like I'm never in a state of having achieved full alignment. This is an ongoing journey. I will never be fully evolved. As humans will never be fully evolved. We will always learn and grow. But I think that, I want to start paving the path to accelerate people's way of finding that alignment, their mind, body, spirit. And to help people to realize, like, it's not this big, scary thing to do. It's just in these little moments every day and saying yes to things that you feel are aligned to you, standing your sacred ground, listening to what you really want and how acting in service of your own heart. Trust yourself fully and fiercely, like, stepping into your heart space and cracking it open and letting the light shine out. Like, that's what we need to be doing here. But it's not this, like, I think I've had to, like, I have these qualities of me of like curiosity and determination, and I'm very stubborn. Like, I kind of don't take no as an answer. And so I'm going on this exploration and adventure. And I've literally, the answer is just to start saying yes to the things that make you feel alive and to try new things and to be curious. And that's so these little stepping stones. I've had the urgency of like my life is at risk here. But it's like, I would love for people to have this metamorphosis without the trauma.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm so glad that you shared that, because there's two things that come to mind for me. One is, I remember seeing Brene Brown said this somewhere. It might have been a Netflix, might have been a reading. There's too many Brene Brown data points in my life. But I remember her saying that she had interviewed people who had experienced trauma, and they were often the people who could experience the greatest joy, because I'm so teary, because they'd experienced the dark, and it just supercharged the light for them. And then when I was, I really wanted to do this conversation justice and really honor your story. And I was talking to one of my wonderful, wonderful friends, and her biggest question, I was like, what do you need to hear? Like, what do people need to hear? And that what you said was exactly it. She said, how do I move into that level of alignment without the trauma? And I would probably hypothesize that maybe you can't to the same extent, or maybe it will be more challenging to self-motivate to the same extent. But what I'm hearing you say is, you basically get a vote every time you make a decision of whether you're going to vote to be more in your own heart space and more in alignment with your soul or not. And most choice points, from what are you going to have for breakfast to where do you live to what is your career to how do you speak to people, can be distilled somewhat into an almost binary decision of, is it closer to or further from me?
So beautifully put. Yeah. I mean, our becoming is such a big thing. It's like, we don't know. It's not a destination. And so it's like our becoming and our evolution, our metamorphosis, like, you just need to simply start. And like you're saying, it's like removing the noise, the clutter, and approaching life from like a mind, body, spirit, like getting curious. Like, I feel like it's, I'll tell you this story if I can. I don't know have we got time? What's time like? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think
we
that
have to choose, Cass. We have to choose how much time we have.
Well, it comes down to these, when it really boils down to it, it comes down to trust. And I have this like trust model that I have kind of created, where at the core of it is self-trust. I've learned that we can't trust source, we can't trust others, we can't do trust without trusting ourselves. And trust, I think before my diagnosis, I had always thought that trust was something that it was a bond that I kind of nurtured with other people. I never considered it or prioritized growing it within myself. We don't know where our journeys or our stories are going to take us. We don't know the kind of the hijackings that are going to come in, or whether there's going to be trauma or not. We don't know. But in the moments, if we know how to if we trust ourselves like fully and fiercely, we make decisions that are aligned without us even really knowing with our mind, body, and spirit. And there's this beautiful story. I'll give you an example. So when I was diagnosed, I said at the beginning, I'm going to become a yes girl. Like, I'm literally going to do everything and anything to see my kids grow old. And I am very proud of myself because I've stayed true to that. And that set me on this whole other journey of just trying what else is out there in a mind, body, spirit world. And what I didn't realize though at the time was that I was also inviting trust building moments into my world by saying yes to these little things. So I'll give you an example. They're all random, but they come together and you can't make this shit up. Like, it's just, this is it. Like, okay. So when we were in Bali, when we did our beautiful meditation with my brother, so we said yes to doing that meditation, which was big. Amazing. For you.
It was big for me, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of tears on a lot of, yes, it was beautiful. Liquid love, lots of liquid love flowing around. But in that meditation, I had a very strong visualization of myself as an 80-year-old. Like I came out, I saw her. She is real. She was wrinkly AF, but she was so beautiful. And at the time, I was only 4 months into my diagnosis. And I was like, it's like dangling candy in front of a baby. Like, that is not real. That is not my reality. And it's almost like, I was almost like, thanks, mind, for like, doing that. That's almost cruel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward a few months later, and I was in a crystal store. I have now become very, very big on crystals. They are like a very big source of energy for me. I'm holding one right now.
Love that. I have
my big moments.
6 lined up on my window in the sun.
That's why we get a Jackie. But I was in this crystal store and I was very agitated. It was 6 months into my journey. I was having a day and I needed something for my energy. I went in. This beautiful lady was like, could tell I was agitated, held my crystal, and I said, hold this crystal, which was this one. And she just did something to me. She kind of walked around and said something and did something. And I was like, I'm sorry, but do you do this outside of just whatever you just did there? Like, I need whatever that was. And she was like, well, she goes, I do some kind of like spiritual healing stuff. And I was like, can I come and see you like tomorrow? And she's like, yes, I can. Yes. So I went to her house and she's now one of my most like loved and treasured healers on my support bench. I see her once a month and she's been huge in my healing journey. And in this one session, she said to me, okay, what's coming down? And afterwards she said, oh my gosh, Mother Mary came down so strong in your world. Like, Mother Mary is on your bench. Like, she's got your back. She's supporting you. Now, I'm not a religious gal, so I was like, thanks, Mother Mary. Like, high five, cheers for that. Like, thank you. I don't know if I bow or I'm not sure. Thank you. And I was like, that's lovely. I'll take as many people on my bench as possible. Fast forward a few months later, and one of my girlfriends was sitting on the couch with me and she was like, have you tried kinesiology? I was like, no, but I'm very interested. I'll give it a crack. So I did. She gave me the name and number of this beautiful girl, Elizabeth, on the sunny coast. I went and saw her. I now see her every few months as well. And she's also become a big part of my journey. But she was like, okay, what do you want to do? Let's do some future work. Let's do some future self work. I was like, I'd love to talk to that 80-year-old version of me back in Bali. Like, great. So get my arm and she's tapping away and opens this book, and she opened it up to Let It Be. And she said to me, wow, that's so profound. It's kind of like, the song from the Beatles, like I said at the beginning, like, let it be, let it be. And I was like, I love that. Like, that's a really nice surrender. Let it be. We can't fight fate. Like, 80-year-old self is telling me, just sit, just simmer, let it be. And so I called Mum after that and I was debriefing with her and I told her and I said, Mum, this is what came. She said, let it be. And she goes, Cassie, stop. She was like, over the last year, when Mum was feeling really scared about me and sad and like it was all too much, she listened to Let It Be. That was her song that she would listen to. And I was like, what? Like, mind is blown. And then she goes, do you know what's crazy as well? I love that it's about Mother Mary and stuff like that. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my God. Holy shit. Like, it literally took me a visualization in Bali of me as 80 years old, but then it took me a spiritual healer, a kinesiologist, and my mum, all three completely random, isolated, had nothing to do with each other, different random times and events, for me to believe that I am going to be that 80-year-old person. It took me a year. Mm-hmm. Now I believe it so strongly and truly and wholeheartedly that I'm going to be her, that I have this like grounded confidence in me because I'm like, I've seen her, like I am her. I already am her. But I think what the point there is that like now when I see things or something, like not that I'm having visions or whatever, but if I have a drop in and I talk to my inner child or, excuse me, or if I have something intuitively come in and I feel like something is the right decision or something isn't aligned with me, I back myself and I listen to it and I trust myself like fully and fiercely. I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that little step. And that is the perfect example of how just saying yes to these little moments and getting curious and opening your heart and your lens to mind, body, spirit awakenings, that is how you find your alignment, because you grow, bring the lines in together, and your trust of yourself comes together. And you may not know where you're going. You don't purpose. You may not know exactly what your purpose is. You may not know how your story is going to unfold. But if you trust yourself to have those little, to back yourself that I've got this, when those little moments of call to courage has come up, those little moments, like,
Yeah.
that's when you trust yourself, that's when you step into your power. And that's when the story, it's almost like then the force just continues. Now, I don't know how my story is going to end. I don't know how long I've got. None of us do. But I am learning now that, like, I am getting closer to a point, and it's still a long way to go for me to get to that point, but I am feeling like I'm finding peace. So, because I am making choices now with the work I want to do, with the people I want to surround myself with, the way I want to parent my children, the decisions I want to make, everything is shifting. It's making me feel like more alive.
I think something that's really coming through really consistently for me as well is that it's not one woof, everything's different, everything's changed. Like that story and that combination of curiosity and trust together feels like it's allowing for you to pull on the thread and then see what happens, and then be open to it, and then see what happens, and then be open to it. You know, I think so often we will prevent ourselves from making a decision because we can't play it forward and predict the outcome. And I think there's such an important message in what you've shared, which is this stuff is iterative, regardless of what your time frame is. But if you do maintain that openness and be receptive to what is naturally and spiritually going to come your way, and I really deeply believe that too. I really, really believe it in my core. But if you are also open to being curious about it, you don't actually have to have the answers. Like, you didn't have to have that first visualization in that incredibly profound time, which was just incredibly moving for so many of us on our individual journeys. But you didn't have to go, oh, okay, I saw this and this is what it means. Okay, close that chapter, over onto the next one.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just to let these things accumulate and grow and metamorphosize as they need to.
And the only reason I know this is because I've been scrapbooking. And so I put the piece of the puzzle together. It wasn't like I was clocking it and going, oh, this is the next level of the story. It was all in retrospect. When Mum told me that story, I was like, oh my God, I need to go back to my scrapbook. And I was like, because I've got this whole thing on what my spiritual healer says and what comes in, and Mother Mary is listed there. And I was like, whoa, like putting those pieces of the puzzle together. And you know, what you were saying before is so true and real. Like your friend's question, like, do you have to go through trauma? I think the trauma has added a level of intensity and what's the word? Like quickness. What's the word? Like it's pushed me to move on this quick. It's like an awakening that was like, I don't know how much time I've got. I need to move because my life is at stake here. And so I'm going on this path of wherever. But in actual fact, like all of us, trauma, you said there is beautiful quotes, like sometimes you have to walk through your darkest days so you can dance more fully in the light. But that doesn't need to be true for everyone. We all deserve to dance fully in the light. You don't necessarily have to walk through the darkest days to dance fully in the light. Like, I think it's put a rocket under my ass and it literally woke me up. I can see why some people, like, I've got a medical intuitive who trains me on, she's a coach for me, a mindset coach. So she's a GP and a psychic together. So she coaches amazing once a month. But she actually gets really cranky when I say that I'm healing, because that implies that I'm broken. She's like, no. None of us are broken. We're all just becoming. And so trauma, I think this trauma has intensified my awakening, and healing is an awakening. And people go on different ways of different journeys of that awakening. Some people maybe are too held by fear to grip onto that. But I think that I was curious and open to it. But I don't think people have to experience a trauma to have their awakening. It's a choice.
So funny. I was going to say it's a choice. Like I often use this kind of visualization with my clients, and it constantly comes into my mind. I think I might have even shared it with you before, where, we are, I imagine a young girl, I think it's probably the young Jackie, on the edge of a cliff, and there's an anchor, a tether that is holding her, and she's holding on to the other end of that tether, and in the other hand is this huge red balloon. It makes me teary even thinking about it, that is trying to pull her up to where she can be, and she's holding on to both. And it's a choice whether she lets go of the balloon or the tether. It's the choice of whether she decides to lean towards the fear and stay safe and small, or whether she lets go of that fear and flies. And I think what I'm hearing is that trauma and this huge life-changing event has really just come up to your version of that little girl and said, yeah, but choose now. Which one are you going to choose? Choose now. Whereas I think most of us go, yeah, one day I'll choose courage. Like maybe in a future state, maybe if something big and bad happens, that might be enough for me to do what Cass is doing, and that might be enough for me to choose courage over comfort.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting is with the girls that I speak to, and I love how you say that, you know what, I think my story, we're cut from the same cloth. We are all in similar stages of life. The people that are resonating with my story, it's like, it could be you. It could be any of us that this happens to. And life is not, we do need to have that, people say, I live each day like it's your last, like, but we do not get a dress rehearsal. Like this is not a dress rehearsal. We don't get a do-over. We have one life. And I always go back to this saying, and I love it, like we all have two lives. The second starts when we realize we only have one. And I want my story to be hit it in your face that you can choose for this to be the start of your second life. You don't need to have, allow my trauma and my experience, take the gift of that and take my words to know that life is fickle and it is fragile and it is so beautiful, and it's also really bloody hard. But it's like you can hold on to that red balloon or the anchor, and it's your choice to choose. That this is like, we have a choice, but it takes courage, it takes confidence, and it doesn't happen overnight. These are things that we have to, this is the inner work. This is the coming back into our heart space. This is the getting rid of the noise and the external need for validation and what society says that we need to be doing. And this is how life should progress, to go, what do I want? who do I want to be, and who do I want to become? You might not know the answer to that, but all we need to do is trust and know that we only have one life to do it. This is it. I do believe that there's different realms. I'm very much I don't think that our journey ends in this physical vessel, but this physical vessel is the only one that we get to live this soul's purpose. So Cassie, up until 36 years old, I wouldn't say I wasted it, because I loved my life and I have beautiful family, beautiful friends, and I loved the work I was doing, all these things. But now I'm really learning who Cassie is. And I think I had to get faced coming to my mortality, and to have that on an ongoing basis. I always think to myself, why did I have to get an incurable cancer? Why? But maybe there's a lesson in that. And that's something that I still have to get acceptance with. it's like, I have to find acceptance that I might not be able to get rid of these things ever, and I'm going to have to live with them until one day it's my physical self can't. But it's like I had to get incurable cancer to realize the fragility of life ongoing, that it's not a trauma that I can just come out of and look at in retrospect and move back into before Cassie ways. This is something that I am going to have to continually strive at and work towards and evolve and expand my way of being and becoming. Because but it's a beautiful place to be, and it's actually how we should all be living our life.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you said earlier, if you could go back to that pre-cancer version or that pre-diagnosis, would you? And you said no. And what I'm hearing is, even if they'd have said, oh, yep, yes, it's cancer, we can cut that out, jobs are good and you'll be back on your merry way.
Maybe that wasn't enough.
Maybe that is the same as going back to the pre-version. Maybe this is
like holding me to accountability. It's like my accountability partner.
Yeah.
Accountability partner is like, I see you, you're falling, like, get back on. But in like such a beautiful way. And also being like, I get drawn back into fear daily. I had a PET scan last week, and it's lessening my grip on, like, I am loosening the stronghold it has on me. I am learning how to process fear and to use it as more of a catalyst for growth. So, fear comes back in all the time into my life, like daily. I had a PET scan last week, and I'm getting better at the way the stronghold that fear has on me and how I'm processing fear and decoding the messages that it's telling me and moving through it. But my life is not going to be linear. It is not like this. It is up and down like everyone's, and fear is going to continue to creep in and try to hijack me. And there are moments where I don't trust myself. There will be moments, I had last year I had a big breakthrough bleed. The tumor broke through my bowel and hit an artery. And I kind of was thrown back into the realm of fear and angst and anxiety. And I think what I'm doing though is starting to like trust, source, self, all these things that I can pull through that. But we just don't know how life is going to play out. And so we get to the reframe there instead of have to, we get to have choice. And it's such a beautiful thing.
I always think of that, this is a bit trivial, but I always think of that episode of Sex and the City where Charlotte calls Miranda and goes, I choose my choice. I choose my choice.
I remember that, yeah.
Do you remember that episode? It's about something completely different, and I think that she doesn't work or something like that. But I always think of it because it's like, just fucking choose your choice. Like, it's a bit Yoda, but neither option when you have a choice is good or bad. The risk is not choosing at all. And then you get to a point, and I see this all the time, where you're in midlife and go, how the hell did I get here? I didn't choose this. And you've almost kind of, you're in a whirlpool of life and you just lift your feet up and coast and just end up all of a sudden somewhere that you didn't choose to be. And then you have to figure out how to,
it's almost like a midlife crisis. It's like, could we avoid midlife crises if we just like tried to live in this through this lens?
Yeah, just like choose. And you mentioned something before, actually, which comes up it comes up really often. One of the most difficult questions that for, I would say, women in their 30s and 40s to answer is, what do you want? When we were saying about, like, you can have it all, you just have to choose what your all is and make choices accordingly. For a lot of people, that's the hardest part. Like, what is my all? What do I want?
You know what I think I'm learning is that it's a feeling. Like a feeling, when things is just like, it feels like you can't explain it. It's like, but you just know in your body that it feels right.
Yeah.
Or that, you start to understand when it just doesn't feel, it's a feeling. It's like, you don't know what it actually is, but it's like trusting that feeling.
Yeah. And know what it isn't, right? Like when you don't feel it, go, okay, look around. What have I created that isn't resulting in how I want to feel?
And then
What
there's
can I
also like,
tweak and change?
we and what we're saying here is not, it doesn't mean like quit your job and do this
Yeah.
and do that.
Burn it
It's
all
like
down.
still have to like do our job, but like find the moments of how you can be of service to yourself in that. How do you want to show up in a meeting, or do you want to do volunteering on the side, or what is there, like what else is there that is important to you, that it's not like we can just drop everything and live this life that like I still get caught in the doing. My life, I've 3 young kids. We've got, I work, I'm trying to heal. Like there's a bit going on, and so we have to do the doing, but we can choose to also do the being, and those two coexist and live together. If we can find the way where that feeling where you're like, I can have this and that, then that's when you just know that you're starting on your path. But you're also getting curious and inviting these trust building moments. You're inviting moments where you're like, even going out to dinner by yourself, like that takes courage, but it's like littlest things, going to see a movie by yourself, that might even be a little call to courage. It's like these little moments where you just suddenly get more comfortable with being uncomfortable, knowing that you're still going to have to do all the things that we still have to do. And naturally it will evolve. Doors will begin to open. Ones will start to close. People will come in and out of your life. Things will shift and change, and you will just start to move on that path, I believe. I don't know if that's true, but this is what the last 2 years is starting to teach me. It comes down to that. It boils down to feeling and trusting and answering those little calls to courage, being comfortable with being uncomfortable and not knowing. Like our brain, we just want to know. We want to know what it's going to. We want to know how this is going to end up, how this is going to play out. We want to know how that. Just having the like the trust to go, I don't know how this is going to, but I'm here for the ride, and I'm going to say I'm going to choose what truly makes me feel alive in this moment.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful because, well, for many reasons, but how many of us lay there at night trying to get to sleep thinking of all of the doing that we need to do, and have I signed them up for soccer, and did I get that appointment, and when am I going to get their haircut? This is my own personal list.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, did we pay those bills, and oh my God, we need petrol, and like just all of those things that fill our mental load. I think that it can be a really powerful shift, and probably a simple go away and do it right now point of what you just said, going, I will, make the decisions as they come, and I will be curious, and I know that I am part of something that is beyond myself. Things will happen as they're supposed to, and I will answer that call to courage when it arrives. I don't need to be in control of everything all the time, because I don't think that it serves anyone to white knuckle through life. So before we run out of time, I do want to hear about She Believe. So tell us about She Believe and the next one and all of the things.
Yeah. Well, She Believe, I mean, I feel like I started it because last year in November, I lost a very dear friend of mine who lost her 22-month battle with cancer. She had bowel cancer. We got diagnosed around the same time. And she taught me so many incredible, profound lessons in life. And one of them was like, that was the real push for me as well. Like we're not guaranteed as well. And She Believe is, I've started a number of businesses before and worked in a number of businesses before. And they've all been forecasting and budgets and what's this going to look like. And She Believe is going with all heart. And it's really interesting because Dare to Live has been born, and the experience is just profound. The shifts and the transformation that the women experience, like just really understanding fear and trust and reframing fear and, breath work and meditation. It was such a beautiful experience that I'm like, this has to happen more, and it will. I'm also realizing literally in the last couple of days that there's more to be done. And I'm really excited to be exploring something that's just dropped into my realm around this mind, body, spirit. And the conversation today is just a cosmic serendipitous reminder and nudge. I truly believe that what I want to be moving with She Believe is to be providing almost like an accelerated pathway to aligning my mind, body, and spirit just through gifting people all the things that I'm trying in mind, body, and I want to be
Wow.
like living on the front line and exploring everything and then gifting it on a platter for others to go and aid their explorations. Particularly probably starting with women who have been touched by cancer. But I think it's broader than that. And I don't know where it's going to go. I know that I am opening my heart. I am saying yes. And She Believe is literally, I just want my story to be of service to others, to to help others spark like a desire, a pull, an excitement even to kind of, to dare to live or to rise or to all these things. Like I don't actually know where it's going, but I know I'm taking the same approach that I am in my own healing. That has started with Dare to Live. So I've we did one. I've got another in June. We're going to take 111 women through the experience again. And I think in between then there's going to be something else launching now that I know you love human design. I am a manifester and I have been manifester surging hard in the last few days. Is I'm like, oh, this is why I'm so glad this conversation is so timely as well. And it's just been such a beautiful reassurance. But yeah, I feel like if I can be, I've learned that if, we choose courage over comfort, we do all these amazing things, there is light to be found in the most unexpected and impossible places. And I feel like I want to somehow be a beacon of light for other people, whether it's being, people don't, when they're at Dare to Live, there's a lot of tears, a lot of liquid love, but people aren't crying for me. They're crying for themselves because I think that She Believe don't have it figured out. Like, I don't know the meaning of life. I'm not cured and I don't have the answers. I'm just Cassie and I am on my journey of daring to live, of learning how to rise and fly and, all these things. And I just want to be able to gift and live on the front line and report back and to be able to help. And I think people resonate with the vulnerability of my story and knowing that I don't have it figured out. I think it's not in the coming like, this is how you cure yourself. This is follow this framework. It's like, I don't have that. I don't have the answers. But what I do have is perspective. And I think gifts, like lots of the glimmers and the blessings and the lessons and the insights that I'm learning and yearning for and seeking. And I am this like wounded warrior. I'm like kind of like pulling myself along and I want to be able to share that with whoever wants to listen and whoever wants to experience. And I think along the way, I am meeting the most incredible humans and healers and doctors. And I'm learning like just the most amazing things in mind, body, spirit, all the things. And I'm like, I want to be able to be a platform for other people to experience these. And I think in Dare to Live, I don't know where the aha moments come. Even today's conversation, you just don't know where it's going to lead, but where you wear your heart on your sleeve and you share openly, it's like these moments come in for people. And I hope that that's the truth for this conversation as well. It's like at Dare to Live, people, the most unexpected downloads and aha moments, I'm giving a message, but I am inviting people to form meaning, their own meaning to that message. And I think that's what's powerful. Everyone, life is tough. Everyone has stuff going on for them. Cancer may not be your journey, and I hope it's not your journey, but we have fear and so much going on. Everyone has something going on internally, externally, and whatever, family, job, career, different mental health. Like there's so much. And it's like, if I can just be a beacon of light or a little drop of inspiration that has a ripple effect, or that people can form their own meaning, then I am healing myself and helping to heal others as well at the same time.
I just think that your generosity, I think your vulnerability, but your generosity really has always struck me. And when we were in Bali at the end of 2023, so like you said before, you were 4 months into your journey, I still remember we were in the pool and we were chatting and your kids were jumping on your head and all of the things, and you were sharing, you said to me, when I'm past this, I know that I'm going to help others. And it was really, and I remember thinking, to have that presence of mind and that generosity of spirit to so early when you had so many unknowns. And I remember you saying, I think it'll be something to do with women who are touched by cancer, because I've now experienced how challenging it can be and I don't want it to happen to others. And I remember just going, fuck, this woman, I would still be sending invitations out to my pity party. And I just want to really acknowledge from the outside looking in, how important that is. And that you're not evangelical. You're not saying there is one way to do this, follow my journey, follow my path. You're not egotistical. I can do it because, I'm going to conquer this and I'm stronger than that. There's no bravado about it, I think. And I'm so thrilled to be able to see how you saw, because I can see that you're doing it from such a generosity of heart and spirit, and you're just going to help thousands.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet.
It just feels really full circle, that it has been, whatever it's been, 14 or 15 months, and you're still being driven by that same.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that there was something like this. I never forget, and I said it earlier. I had a psychic at the very beginning when I was diagnosed. I called her in like desperation, and she said to me, "This is happening for you, not to you." And that really resonated with me. And I didn't know how it was going to unfold or whether I was even going to live to tell the tale. But I think my friends have always called me Mama Cass. I've always been the one who's like trying to help or uplift, and I don't know, and I don't even know how I do that, but I have a protective mama bear about me, and I want to help people through this. And I think there has been that little glimmer of light in me, and thank you for acknowledging that, because I remember that conversation, and it's so hard to see what that's going to look like, and I still don't even really know, but I know that I feel like if I, when you start energetically signaling to the universe that like I'm here I want to be of service, then it starts to unfold as it should. And I think, it heals me just as much as I hope to be of service to others. It's important heart work for me to be able to know that I'm giving back. I'm not someone to just take. I need to share, and I want to share the people and the stories and the sadness and the grief and all the things. It's one messy, beautiful, crazy life. So thank you. It means a lot that you said that. Yeah. It comes from, what, at the end of the day, it just comes back to love. That's all. Love is the highest vibration. Love has the power to heal. Love is infinite. It's expansive, and it's love of self and love of others. It's truly life's greatest blessing and gift.
I was going to ask you, what's one thing that people could take away? Like, what's that just one thing? But I think you've already said it. I think it's love, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think it is.
What would love look like?
What does love feel like?
What decision would be made from love?
Yeah. What does it feel like?
Is there anything else that you have on your heart or mind that you would like to share?
I want to honor you and say thank you for gifting me this platform and such a safe space to share. I always love our conversations. And so I am truly grateful that you believed in my story and me and trusted me enough to bring me on and share. And so I just want to honor you and say thank you to you for all that you were doing as well, to be a bright, shining light in the world.
Thank you. It is a privilege. It's a privilege to have you. And then final thing is, how can people follow? Like, how can people become part of the momentum of this movement?
Yeah. So I have Instagram is probably where I'm most active.
We'll link everything below wherever you are.
Yeah, Cass Miller. That's probably where I'm most active at the moment, sharing my stories. I'm trying to like feel out where this is going to go, maybe do like a feed in there. I don't know what's going to happen and evolve, but that's kind of where I'm edging. My website as well, www.shebelieve.com.au. I've got like a newsletter, I guess. I've subscribed to my tribe, and that's where I kind of will be people can be the first to know about upcoming events or any new product launches, which I'm hoping, I'm thinking there might be one. So I am, that's just kind of where to stay in the know. And yeah, that's where you can purchase tickets as well. The Dare to Live for June is in Brisbane on the 1st of June, and tickets are now online. So people could go on, have a look and see if it resonates, and I'd love to have anyone there.
Amazing. I don't know. You know what? I do have a question for you. I like to just wrap everything up, and usually I say, what's one book that you should read? But what's your favorite crystal?
Oh, that's so easy.
This one. Is it? Okay, what is that?
It's a citrine. Now, I have a lot of crystals, but citrine is...
I have a citrine.
Oh, there you go.
Could have been holding it.
This one is like perfectly. It's the one Melissa gave to me in the store when I was actually that one day in the store I told. It fits perfectly in my palm, and I have held this through all my biggest moments. So I held it through everything that has been big for me. It's kind of like I feel I've slept with this thing. I have, it's been there. It's been to hospital with me. It's been everywhere with me. So I hold it. I've been on stage with me when I speak at Dare to Live. It's everywhere with me. So this is my most prized one, and I feel like it's just we've connected. It takes my energy beautifully.
I love that because my little citrine, my son bought for me. Thomas bought this for me. And he gave me this little blurb.
Yep.
And citrine is a stone of abundance, powerful cleanser and regenerator, energizing, creative, opens intuition, teaches how to manifest prosperity, all that is good, and how to share, helps to go with the flow, overcome fear.
You actually can't make this shit up. I mean, it's wild.
I said overcome fear until I just read it and I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Literally.
I mean, it's just, yeah. Thank you, universe. We're all exactly where we're meant to be right now.
We are exactly where we're meant to be. I genuinely can't thank you enough. And I thank you on behalf of anyone who is listening for the sacred gift of your story and what you have learned so far, and how we can all learn and grow and evolve as a result of your vulnerable sharing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you everyone who's listening. We'll see you next time.